What if I told you Charles Leclerc was right all along? That his instincts behind the wheel, his mid-race pleas, his frustration over the radio, they were all backed by cold, hard data? Welcome to the Canadian Grand Prix, where Ferrari's strategy department once again found themselves on the wrong side of a driver's judgment. But this time, the telemetry tells the full story. Stick around. We're diving deep into tire strategy, lap times, and a race that could have played out very differently if only Ferrari had listened. Let's set the scene. Leclerc started the race on hard tires, just like Lando Norris. The early laps? Rough. Take a look at the first lap time scatter plot, image 3. Leclerc's pace in the opening 10 laps was off. He struggled with grip, tire temperature, and couldn't get into a rhythm, but by lap 15, things turned around. He matched and sometimes beat Norris. The hard tires had come to life. At that point, Leclerc pushed for Plan C, a one-stop strategy. Ferrari refused. And here's where it gets painful. In the gap evolution chart, we clearly see Leclerc closing in on Norris around lap 25. But Ferrari blinked first, pitting Charles on lap 28 for another set of hards. Norris responded with a stop for mediums, and the damage was done. The charts show Norris then began pulling away. 5 seconds gained by lap 47. Imagine if Ferrari had trusted Leclerc's suggestion. A one-stop staying out longer could have kept him in the fight, minimized time loss, and allowed him to pit later for fresher rubber. It's not theoretical. Sainz and Ocon pulled off one-stoppers from much worse positions. From laps 47 to 53, Leclerc was a sitting duck. Norris, already on his fresh tires, was flying. We can see this vividly in the lap time scatter plot between laps 45 to 55. While Leclerc hovered in the mid-1:15 seconds, Norris was dipping into the low 1:15 seconds and high 1:14 seconds, up to half a second per lap faster. Ferrari's response? They waited. Even worse, when Leclerc finally stopped, he rejoined behind 2 slower cars, burning another few seconds in traffic. The result? A 10-plus second gap to Norris, who just a few laps earlier had been within reach. It wasn't about pure performance. Leclerc's race pace was solid, as shown in the final box plot, where he ranked just behind the McLarens. But race pace only works if you're in the right place at the right time. And Ferrari's hesitation meant Charles never had a chance to capitalize. He left Mercedes to chase a dream in red. But now, behind closed doors at Ferrari, Lewis Hamilton is doing more than just driving. He's fighting. Not on track, but in the garage, in meetings, in setups. And what he just revealed? It hints at growing tension, rising impatience, and a battle for control that could reshape Ferrari's future. Stick around, because what's unfolding isn't just about lap times. It's about power, vision, and the voice of a champion being tested in unfamiliar territory. Lewis Hamilton is not a passenger in this Ferrari journey. He's not just adapting to a new car, he's challenging how the team works at its core. They say, this is how we always do it. And I'm like, well, what about this? This is a veteran champion used to winning, used to innovation, pushing back against tradition. But tradition runs deep at Ferrari, and pushing boundaries here isn't always welcomed with open arms. What we're seeing is a tug-of-war, not of ego, but of methodology. Hamilton knows that without upgrades, raw pace isn't enough. And yet, weekend after weekend, he's been handed the same package. No major tweaks, no new parts, no real answers. Still, he's kept his cool, publicly at least. But his latest remarks show the strain is building. We haven't had any upgrades. I'm just challenging the guys, constantly battling the engineers. This isn't a dig, it's a plea, a demand. A reminder that standing still in Formula One means falling behind. Let's talk numbers. 10 races in, and Hamilton sits behind Leclerc in points, podiums, and head-to-head race results. 3 podiums for Charles, 0 for Lewis. Yes, he's shown signs of adaptation, stronger qualifying runs, tighter battles, but that's not what he came here for. Hamilton came to fight for wins, titles, legacy, and he's making it clear that without upgrades, without evolution, Ferrari is running out of time. We've improved since Monaco, which is positive, but we need an upgrade to fight the guys up front. And make no mistake, the clock is ticking. 2025 is the final full year of the current regulations. After that, F1 2026 resets the entire game. So what happens in the second half of the season isn't just about this year, it's about momentum, about belief, about whether Hamilton still feels this is a team worth betting his final years on. Hopefully we can still fight for second place in the constructors, but I want a car that can win next year. That's the priority. This isn't a driver complaining. This is a driver drawing a line in the sand. Something's not right behind the scenes at Ferrari, and Lewis Hamilton knows it. But instead of calling it out directly, he's holding back, carefully, politically, just enough to spark speculation, but not enough to burn bridges. What's really going on inside Maranello? Why is one of F1's greatest champions suddenly speaking in riddles? And why did he just say, "I wish I could tell you what's happening"? This isn't just about upgrades. This is about a system under pressure and a 7-time world champ realizing that driving the car might be the easiest part of his new job. Stay with us. We're unpacking every layer of this story. Because once you hear what Hamilton hinted at, you'll understand why Ferrari's issues go way deeper than lap times. Canada wasn't a disaster, but it sure wasn't progress either. Hamilton lined up ahead of Charles Leclerc, but once again, the race slipped away from him. Strategy didn't click, pace didn't hold, and another shot at the podium vanished into midfield mediocrity. But it was his post-race words, not the race itself, that really raised eyebrows. "I wish I could tell you what's happening. There's so much going on in the background." Read that again. That's not frustration about setup tweaks or tire wear. That's a heavy statement from a driver who's seen it all and doesn't speak cryptically unless there's a reason. Hamilton has made it clear the car needs work, but now he's hinting that the real problem might be Ferrari's structure, the culture, the decisions being made above the garage. There's a lot of changes that need to be made in the system. That word, system, is telling. He's not talking about the car's power unit or the aero department. He's talking about the way Ferrari works at its core. And right now, it sounds like he's hitting resistance from within. Hamilton came to Ferrari with more than just expectations. He came with belief. A belief that he could be part of a comeback story. A belief that a team with Ferrari's history and resources could rise again. But belief only carries you so far when the results don't match. He hasn't seen a podium in red. He's trailing Leclerc in points. And every time the SF25 hits the track, it looks like it's missing that final edge. Of course I'm asking for upgrades. I don't know why we haven't been bringing them. For a team like Ferrari, not bringing updates regularly in the middle of a tight development war raises real questions. Hamilton isn't just questioning the pace, he's questioning the intent. And yet, despite everything, he's still defending team boss Fred Vasseur. Fred's the main reason I'm here. I want Fred here. I believe he's the one to take us to the top. Translation? Hamilton's frustration isn't aimed at the leadership he chose to work with. It's aimed at the layers above or around them, the ones who are dragging their feet, missing targets, or simply not responding fast enough. It's the classic Ferrari dilemma. A driver speaks up, but the machine behind the brand hesitates to change.